Welcome to the JAMODI podcast. We are all surrounded by amazing coaches and leaders. So let's get an inside look at not just what they do, but how they do what they do. After all, becoming the best versions of ourselves is JAMODI, just a matter of doing it. The JAMODI podcast is powered by Sideline Interactive. Sideline Interactive is the leading manufacturer for high-quality, innovative scoring tables and LED video display boards that help coaches and schools bring more excitement to fans, create huge fundraising opportunities, and make their jobs easier. Visit sidelineinteractive.com to check out their amazing products. Coach, occasionally at Grapevine Faith Christian School, we've got about 350 kids, so half of those are boys. Occasionally, I have to make a cut with my varsity team, but I'm really cutting a kid that, in all honesty, he's choosing between basketball and maybe drama or art. And so it's not a hard cut. Yeah. Do you mind taking me through the process a little bit of going from 40 down to 12 when you're dealing with some of the best of the best?
Yeah. I mean, they're all going to be high level Division I players, So again, we have these five different areas, criteria, different areas that we really take a hard look at when we're evaluating. Also, I mean, we also have the competitive stuff that we do, and we have, hey, look, you're not on the winning team that much, So we have something to back it up with. Now there are times where we'll cut a player who maybe is on a lot of winning teams, and we just have to deal with it. A lot of it has to do with, and they don't realize it when they come in, but as soon as they're there for a day or two, we have to build a team, and just like you do in your high school, like I do. This is not an all-star game. They're so used to thinking, this is an all-star event where we're just going to come and play, and so it's not. It's not an all-star event. So we really have to decide who makes the best team. And what probably the two toughest positions are 11th and 12th guy. We can't have a guy there who we think is pretty good, but we know he's not going to be satisfied with being 11th and 12th guy.
Yep.
So we just can't take him. And we're pretty blunt telling him that. We say, you're probably, you might think you're good enough for our team. Right now, you're going to be 11th and 12th guy. And we interview kids a lot. I did it at my high school team, too, when I made cuts. I would interview them and just say, hey, if you're 11th or 12th guy, are you going to be satisfied? Can you live with that at the end of the bench? The Isaac Okoros of the world said yes. Quigley said yes. And most of them will say yes. But at least what you have at that time is if something happens where they're not happy, you can say, listen, we talked about this.
You said yes.
Yes. So you're not going to, if you don't get the minutes.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You already told me that so we do a lot of, that interaction with interviews and just talking to kids and trying to build a little bit of relationship with them too.
It really reminded me of the movie Miracle while you were talking, about that the hockey team and how he was letting players go that all these other people were like, he's one of the best ones here. Yeah. But he was trying to build. I got to imagine for you that there's, even though it's hard and there are some tough conversations, some stressful moments, I got to imagine there's a lot of joy in putting that team together.
Oh, man. There really is. I mean, the fruitation of it all obviously is a gold medal, and so when you put that team together, I think, with USA basketball, our end goal is a gold medal, and we don't, if you don't get a gold medal, it's not what your goal is not to get that. So there's a lot of with your high school team, your goal might be a state championship, but that's out there a ways. Yeah.
It's possible, but it's not always probable.
In reality, it's exactly right. But with our USA basketball team, we have to we just have to come back with a gold medal. So players understand this, coaches understand this. And so when we're putting that team together, that's our carrot at the end. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what we do. So, but I think it's the same, pretty much the same as with my high school team where, hey, look, we got to get better today. We're not looking ahead to the final game, because if we don't get better today, we might not get that final game. So we want to get better today, and here's how we're going to get better today. We're gonna put these 2 hours in. I ask kids a lot. I mean, one of the things that we ask them to do is just give me when you're on the court, when you step on this court, it's my classroom as a coach, and I want your 2 hours of undivided attention, because this is what we need in order to improve. And once those 2 hours are up, go play video games. Go get on your Twitter account, whatever it is. I don't care. But during these 2 hours, you better be locked in. And I think just that attitude of them knowing that, I don't expect 24/7 out of them. I expect 2 hours out of them. They can give you 2 hours of undivided attention. They're not going to give you 24/7 hours.
That's right. That's a really good point, because I think sometimes we coach our players as if it's their job too. Like it's my job. Like I'm the only one at Faith getting paid to do this basketball thing. These players, it's their choice, and it's a game that they hopefully like or love to play. Tobin Anderson, obviously he's popular right now because of the amazing run that he had. But he had a really cool interview after their last game talking about their culture. He said we have a 2 and 22 culture, and that means for 2 hours of the day, this is all that matters. The other 22, don't even think about it. Don't worry about it. I think that's just a healthy way to go about it, and it sounds like that's what you're doing.
Exactly. And we've kind of started at. I think, to me, first of all, I think it's up to the coach to get your practice organized in a way that kids will get them ready to practice right away. They come with you with so many. I know we're kind of deviating off the topic.
No, it's okay. Yeah.
The kids come with you with, maybe they got a D in a test, or their girlfriend told them to, go by the wayside, or whatever, or their mom or dad. So they come to you at 3:00 or whatever time it is, and they got a lot of things going on in their minds. So I think as a coach, we've really got to kind of sift through all that stuff and come up with a way to get them ready for practice. Because really, you can't. To me, I can't waste 20 minutes waiting for you to get ready for practice. When 3:00 starts, that's when we start practice, and you better be ready. And so, we do a lot of. We have a team meeting before practice. We did with our junior national team. I got that from Coach K with the senior team during the Olympics. He had a short team meeting, generally off the court. Might be in the gym, but it was off whenever they always did things, team meeting off the gym floor itself, the arena itself. It was off to the side or in a classroom or whatever. So we have what we call a mind candy, give them a phrase for the day, and really talk to them about how that relates to our team. Then we come out and we do a quick warm up, and then we do some competitive warm up stuff right away, just to get their minds in the proper mindset where, hey, this practice we're gonna have a great pace to it, and as a coach, I'm going to control the pace. My players don't control the pace. If you let your players control the pace, they're going to be walking to the end of the line. They're going to be walking play here and there. So I think as a coach, you control the pace of your practices, and then the practices will be much better. So.
What were some of those? Could you have any examples of after that warm up? I love the mind candy thing, but after the warm up, some of those competitive drills that you kind of put them into, snap them right into the mode or mindset that you want.
Yep. First of all, we do what we call John Wooden line drills, and I worked John Wooden's camp for 25 years as a young coach, and that's another story. But I learned so much from he did a lot of stuff in lines. So his line drills are just like a 2 dribble out, jump stop, pivot, pass, and go to the end of the line. And then we mix some different passes into it. We may spend maybe 3 or 4 minutes on that a day. With our junior national team, as days goes on, we might spend 2 or 3 minutes. Start with might spend 5 or 6. My 9-year-old team, we might spend 10 minutes there.
That's, yeah.
15 on that. So that's the first thing we do. And that's kind of a high energy deal. We have guys behind clapping and, they're doing that. And then we get into what we call 4 drills. We call them Texas drills, by the way.
Let's go.
Yeah. And they're just timed drills. Like, for instance, the first one is I don't ever do 2-line layups. I mean, I just think that's a waste of time. But we do. They're full court layup. It's a full court layup drill. We use 6 basketballs, and they're going from both ends, and they got to get 50 in a minute, 50 layups in a minute. So that's their goal. If they don't get 50, then we might, they might have to do something else, push-ups or else we say, hey, we're doing it again, type thing. The next one is a full court jump shot drill. We got 4 corners of the court. They pass the ball. You got to follow their pass, catch it at the elbow at the other end, shoot a jump shot. And then the passer rebounds and just rotate around.
Yep.
And that they got to get 15 made jump shots in a minute. And then the third one is, it's kind of a drill I think many coaches do, but it's 4 corners again. You have a layup with 2 jump shots, where you follow your pass and get 2 jump shots type thing, and then you go back the other direction, same thing. So that you have to get 22 in a minute for that. And then the last one is a 3-line passing drill, where you pass the ball. You got 3 lines going in one direction, and you pass the ball back and forth 3 times. It starts in the side, it goes to the middle, side, back to the middle, and then a bounce pass to the other side for a layup. So you have one on the same side. You have 1, 2, 3. Other side, bounce pass, layup. Get the ball out of the net, throw it to the outlet guy, who's the passer for the layup. Goes outlet, and he makes a baseball pass down. The ball ends up opposite side you started. And we call that our perfect layup drill. If they score a layup, it doesn't touch anything, bank board, touch the bank board, but touch any part of the rim, is 1 point. It goes through the net without touching the rim, it's 2 points. And of course, 0 points, they don't make it. And they got to get 22 in a minute. So, that practice, we start out with those kind of things. So their mindset is competitive. Now we go into some of our defensive stuff a little bit, maybe our press, and then we come back with maybe 3-on-3 type of thing. So we're very, as a young coach, I thought I had to give the whole thing at once to the players. If I'm going to teach shooting, by God, I'm going to teach shooting, all of it right now today. It's going to be a 30-minute lecture. How stupid was that?
A lot of standing, coach.
Oh, so I learned, all right, just give them a piece of it today.
Yeah.
If you're talking about shooting, my two things on shooting is proper footwork and proper follow through. All right, now that's what we're going to work on today. We're not going to talk about the elbow. We're not going to talk about offhand. So tomorrow we may address that. But let's get those 2 things, and then let's get some reps in. I read an article in one of the, I think it was either somebody sent it to me, a Harvard Review or Stanford, one of those universities that are higher level than I can think. But they told me that the article was really good. They were doing a lot of kind of testing on various attention spans of various things, and they came to the conclusion that teenagers or preteens, their attention span was about 7 seconds. So I'm thinking, if I'm talking 5 minutes, I've lost them for like 4 minutes and 53 seconds. We got to teach it. Kevin Eastman said it best: teaching sound bites, don't teach in paragraphs.
Yeah.
So and just compare that. A goldfish has a attention span of 8 seconds. So a goldfish has more attention span than a teenager does.
That's good. Something that I heard a coach say to help with that, because as coaches, we do love to hear ourselves speak.
Do.
And obviously everything we say is so important. Like we got to give them, like you said, give them everything.
Oh.
But uh, is have an assistant coach time you as soon as you start whatever teaching point you're on, time. And I love the idea. I mean, obviously difficult to get everything under 7, but this coach said 22 seconds.
Yeah.
Make sure nothing goes over 22 seconds. And then another nugget that PGC really helped me with is teaching in threes, and making sure that my entire coaching staff all is using this thing. Because I would imagine with you have at your camps or at with USA Basketball, coaches coming from all over the country that have all been taught different terminologies, but nothing confuses players more than hearing pretty much the same thing, but in different ways. It just, to me, it slows down the learning.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And that's so true. And I think I think, every year it gets more true, from, just because the players are used to, not paying attention, they're not listening type thing. So I think, that's really an important piece of coaching.
Coach,
I know, I was going to say, I know I'm a much better coach after, 40 years than I was after my first 10 years or 5 years.
okay, on that point, Rick Torbett said that it takes you 10 years to figure out the coach that you want to be, and how long in your journey did you figure out? I mean, obviously you have a growth mindset. You're still, talking to coaches, learning and doing things, but where did you kind of figure it out in your journey?
Well, actually, I think what helped me so much, and I tell coaches this all the time. I said, you have got to work camps and you've got to go to clinics. If you don't do those two things, you're never going to figure out what kind of coach you are. You know? So, and it's not so much what you coach, it's how you coach it. So if you never figure out how to coach something, you're not going to have any success. So I was very fortunate in early on. I mean, I wrote letters to camps I wanted to work, and so I don't think it took me 10 years, but it probably took me 5 or 7. But what helped me was, all right, I got to watch. I watched John Wooden do his line drills every day. I'd go to I had a chance to go to 5 Star early on in my career as a counselor, so I'd listen to those coaches coach and how they coached, and so you just really build up and I took notes. I think coaches should be note takers. Because we're not going to remember 2 weeks down the road. We're not going to remember a drill or something somebody said.
Yeah,
we're just not. We might remember that he said something we liked, but unless we write it down, we're not going to remember it.
That's such a good point.
How good our minds are. So, I mean, I got legal pads when I would go to camps. I mean, I write. And so as a young coach, I was really motivated to not necessarily to get a better job. That was not my goal. My goal was just to become the best coach I could be. And I think young guys, they want to get a different job after 2 years or whatever. I said, here's my response to many young coaches is, you better do a good job of where you're at.
Yeah. Or that next job's not out there then. Yeah.
It'll be there. I said, if you're a 9th grade coach, you better do a good job of being a 9th grade coach. And it's really nothing to do with win and loss. I'll hire a 9th grade coach as my JV coach or my assistant coach because he did a great job with my 9th graders. He does a crappy job with my 9th graders and he does not organize and his practices aren't, he's not going to get a chance. Yeah. So I said, you as a coach, no matter how young you are, no matter where you want to get to, if you're coaching 6th grade girls, you better do a heck of a job with those 6th grade girls. Otherwise, nobody's going to notice you. You're not going to have an opportunity. That kind of goes. I mean, that goes with lifelong, jobs too. If you're in a business and you do a crappy job as a low-level employee, what makes you think they're going to hire you, give you a raise, and give you a bump in status? Not going to happen. So it's all, it all ties in a little bit.
Yeah, I love what you said about going to clinics and being open to learning from everybody that you hear that you're listening to. Because unfortunately, Coach, I've only been doing this for 16 years, not 42 plus, and but coming right out, I was able to play for some good coaches in college and got hired at that varsity assistant. But me and Coach Hoffpower actually are very much aligned in the way that we think basketball, or not should be played, but the way I enjoy it being played is up tempo, free play. I do enjoy the pressing side of it, even though there's been times I've gone away. But all that to say, as a young coach, I was guilty of going to clinics, and if they were talking about a subject or something that didn't align with my style, and I say that in quotes. I mean, I was arrogant and unfortunately wouldn't take a lot of notes. But I think maybe you get your butt kicked enough and you realize after a couple of years as a head coach, golly, I'm not very good at this. You start to come around. But I think the advice to maybe, like you said, those younger coaches is always assume that the person that you're listening to can teach you something. And you never know when you're going to hear a golden nugget that just helps you with a player, helps you with a situation.
That's a great. I mean, it's more of an attitude. What can I learn from you? What can I learn? And I think the best, and I have a chance to watch the best coaches in the country. Jay Wrights and Coach K, and I mean they want to learn from their players. I mean, they're oftentimes saying, "Hey, what can we do better here?" And they're talking to their players about that as well. I just think the best coaches have that mindset of, I can learn something from everybody.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes that mindset, like Coach Wood said, sometimes it might be what not to do.
or that's something that that's a great point. It just doesn't really fit. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, and then maybe the balance too is, what did Don Meyer say? Like you can do some things, but you can't do everything.
Right.
Like that's the balance too. Cause getting to do these talks, Coach. I mean, I've written down a bunch of stuff that you've said, and I'm going to go back over. I love the Texas drills. That's something that I definitely think I can incorporate right off the bat. But it's like, there's so many great things, but then maybe part of realizing who you are is what you can do with your time, with your clientele, what will lead to winning and their success. And then also just a folder of great ideas, just maybe not now.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I think that, that's part of what coaching is. All right, how am I going to make my team better this year? How am I going to make my team better today? So I think you really have to do that evaluation, and that's part of what coaching is.
Thank you for checking out today's episode. Please take a moment to subscribe to this podcast, share it with your fellow coaches, and find us on social media for what's coming up next on the JAMODI podcast. It's just a matter of doing it.